guys, welcome to Brand X Reviews, another edition of BXR Mailbag. Now this one I'm going to talk about the Alien franchise, particularly the future of the Alien franchise, because it is a very confusing and very misinformed subject to be getting into at this moment in time, because there's been some false starts with the future of this franchise. And I'm going to get into that as well, just to say what I mean, but just a bit of a warning. It's very difficult me doing this video because, like I say, it's very confusing to get your head around, let alone explain it. So I'm going to have to structure this in such a way that it makes sense. But here's a question anyway. This is, like I say, it's a mailbag question that's coming from Paul Cage, regular contributor to mailbags on here. So, I can't find the question. Here we go. So it's to do with the Alien franchise and how two films are being made at the same time. How do they fit in the canon, and how can Ripley be back, etc.? So, three questions there. One is about how two films are being made at the same time. The other one is about canon, and the third one is about how Ripley can be back. Now, I'm going to talk about the canon and how Ripley could be back as one answer, and I'm going to talk about the issue of two films being made at the same time, and what he means by that as well, because it's technically not true, but then again, at this moment in time, it's not true, strictly speaking. Because one of those films has been mothballed, so it's not actually being made as such. Now, how am I going to do this? Because there's two directions that they've gone off in, or were supposed to be going off in one, but then went back to the other, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to Neil Blomkamp, he's one film director, and Ridley Scott. So these are the two directions that they're going in. It's basically a directorial direction. That's what it's coming down to. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Neil Blomkamp's direction first. Neil Blomkamp is a sci-fi film director, quite well respected. He did a film called District 9 a few years ago, and it was very well received, just generally, but also by the sort of sci-fi fan community. I myself haven't seen it, but I know a lot of sci-fi fans that have and loved it, and I know I need to watch it because, like I said, a lot of people recommended it. It was very successful as well. So, doing that film, Neil Blomkamp's reputation was, it was quite well respected anyway for doing that. Then, in 2013, he did a film called Elysium with Matt Damon, and I have actually seen that film, and I wasn't impressed. Neither was a lot of the general film-going audience, and I think the general consensus is that film was a massive step down after District 9. And so, beginning of last year, this is where my timeline begins, beginning of 2015, literally, it was like New Year's 2015, some information came out through Neil Blomkamp that he was working on an Alien sequel, which would effectively be, would effectively be Alien 5, because you've got Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrections, that's 4 films. This would be the 4th film. We don't count Prometheus as an Alien sequel, because it was marketed as a spin-off film. Now, Ridley Scott, I'm sure you're aware, directed Prometheus, and he always said it's a spin-off film. It's not really. I count it, Prometheus, as Alien 5, but let's call it a spin-off. So it's the Prometheus franchise. Just for argument's sake, let's just call it that for now. So Neil Blomkamp, forget Ridley Scott for now, Neil Blomkamp was going to do an Alien sequel, so it would be the 5th film in the franchise. And he did some concept artwork, and as you can see here, even without getting into what the plot of that film is, you can kind of use your imagination looking at this. It's got Ripley and it's got Hicks from Aliens, both of which were killed off in the film Alien 3. So your question is, how does this fit? Well, two of your questions. How is Ripley back, and how does this fit in with the canon? Well, it doesn't, and although I'm saying this would be Alien 5, it wouldn't be. Neil Blomkamp had said very clearly this was meant to be Alien 3 version 2, so they were basically retconning Alien 3 and 4. For better or for worse, I personally liked Alien 3, not a big fan of Alien 4, but for better or for worse, they were retconning Alien 3 and 4. This was a direct sequel to Aliens. So you would watch Neil Blomkamp's film that he was going to make, released in 2017, as the 3rd film, and you would effectively forget Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. Now, so your question, how does it fit in with canon? Well, that's how it would have fit in. How are those two back? I have no idea. I have no idea how they would have brought those two back. I mean, obviously, retconning 3 and 4 kind of answers that question in and of itself, because they killed them in Alien 3. Retcon it, they're still alive, you can have them in the film. But obviously, this film would be like over 30 years after that film Aliens, that this is a direct follow-on from. So, again, use your imagination. I don't know. That's up to you to decide how they would have done that, because I don't think there was any specific information on how they were back or what the story was and so on. There's been some kind of ideas and stuff thrown out there. So that's how Neil Blomkamp's continuation was going to go. And it seemed to be going quite well, because these pictures came out, literally, it was the beginning of last year. It was like New Year's Day from memory in January 2015. And a lot of fans, myself included, were like quite stoked about it. I wasn't too happy to hear they were retconning, particularly Alien 3, because like I say, I like that film. It's a little bit kind of nihilistic and gothic, but still, it has its place. And it's David Fincher, who's a great film director as well. Although I know he wasn't happy with the film, but anyway, side issue. So I was quite happy to hear that this film was coming out, and then a lot of fans were, and it was similar to what they did with Deadpool. They released some like concept footage, there's a big fan reaction, and then they greenlit the film. Well, publicly greenlit the film. It's probably greenlit long before that, but similar to this, they put a lot of concept artwork out there as a kind of, oh, what if, wouldn't it be cool if they made this film? Then a lot of massive positive reaction in the fan community. Boom, film is publicly greenlit. So that's what happened. And this, again, going back, keeping in the timeline, this is January 2015. Now, I believe it was January, it was early 2015 that Neil Blomkamp had his next film, Chappie, coming off the back of a very successful District 9, a quite lackluster film, Elysium. But his third film could have like maybe made people forget about Elysium if it was really good and successful. So Chappie came out. From what I understand, it underperformed. It wasn't very well liked either by critics or sci-fi fans. I know friends of mine that went to see it and they said as well it wasn't all that great. So Neil Blomkamp was up there, and he kind of took a bit of a hit with those two films, Elysium and Chappie. So although he was like the guy, I think his reputation kind of took a bit of a hit for that. Now that's the Neil Blomkamp thing anyway. Now, Ridley Scott, on the other hand, had already kind of rebooted, relaunched, I suppose, soft reboot, wasn't a full reboot, of the Alien franchise with Prometheus. Specifically, Prometheus was a spin-off. So you've got the Alien films, you've got the Prometheus film. He was doing a Prometheus sequel, which is what it was known as. Prometheus 2, that was a nickname that's been thrown out there. He was wanting to do that. Now, he was making a film called The Martian, and a lot of Ridley Scott's films in recent times were pretty diabolical and were recognised as that. His reputation was down there. So Neil Blomkamp was up there, District 9, Elysium went a bit down, Chappie went a bit down, but still Ridley Scott, I would say, concept-wise, if it was a Ridley Scott film, not a lot of people, his name wasn't really enough to sell a film anymore. But then what happened, late 2015, The Martian came out. Ridley Scott, his reputation went up there. It was an awesome film, my favourite film of last year, personally, and I know it was one that was very, very well liked. And it was a great film from a directorial point of view as well. So a lot of the film being great was because of Ridley Scott. So his reputation up there. So he overtook Neil Blomkamp. And rightly so, Ridley Scott's got a massive track record for doing great films. He's got a track record in recent times for doing some pretty naff ones as well. But like I say, in context, his reputation kind of overtook Neil Blomkamp, I suppose. So he's got a little bit more say-so now. So those two were kind of at war with each other. I don't know, when I say at war, I don't quite know behind the scenes whether it was civil or not, but they were competing for the future of the Alien franchise, and for a while it seemed like Blomkamp was in the lead with his, like I say, his stuff that I was just talking about for the last 10 minutes. Now, Ridley Scott's future is, you know, I want to do a sequel to Prometheus. This is my take on it. So it seems Ridley Scott now has been told, right, Blomkamp, we're putting your thing on the back burner. I know you're working hard on it. I know you made a bit of progress with it. Because, I mean, I've seen some of the set pictures. They were building, like, props. But, you know, it must be frustrating, really, because they've kind of put that on the back burner. But Ridley Scott has now been given priority. So his film, which was being known as... what was it being called? Well, Prometheus 2, but he had another title, but it was an Alien film. It was then the name was changed to something else, but then they definitively said Ridley Scott's Prometheus sequel is now being called Alien Covenant, and that is the confirmed title of the film. Covenant, incidentally, is the name of the ship in this film, similar to Prometheus was the name of the ship in the film Prometheus. But what's confusing about this, and what's difficult for me to have to explain all this, is because you're talking about canon. Alien Covenant is a direct sequel to Prometheus in a storytelling point of view, from what I understand. Although it's not called Prometheus from a marketing point of view, it's called Alien, so you've got that recognisability. It's a follow-up to Prometheus. It's got Michael Fassbender from Prometheus, so you get to see what happened after that. I think he's he was an android, but I think his character David must get fixed up, because last time we saw him he was just a head. So I don't quite know how they're fixing him. I believe that they're going to recreate him or something. But anyway, he's in the film anyway. Noomi Rapace from Prometheus, the female character. Can't remember what she was called now. Fairly forgettable characters in that film, to be honest. She isn't in the film, so I quite like her as an actress, but her character was a bit forgettable in that film, and a bit dumb as well. So it is a Prometheus sequel, but it's called Alien Covenant. So Ridley Scott was saying Prometheus is a spin-off franchise, but then he's calling the film Alien. So how do we consider these films? Because Neil Blomkamp's film was going to be Alien 5 effectively, and that it was the 5th film, or maybe Alien 3 version 2. But then that now that you're kind of changing things and calling the sequel to Prometheus Alien Covenant, that then kind of brings Prometheus in with the Alien films, so that makes Prometheus Alien 5, which makes Alien Covenant Alien 6, I suppose. So it gets really confusing at this point, and I'm really sorry if I've lost you. I'm really sorry. It's difficult to explain. So that's effectively where the future of the franchise is, and it's going to be quite interesting to see whether or not this film's good or not. Now, where does this leave the Blomkamp franchise? Because I know you were saying about 2 films being made at one stage, because they haven't said Blomkamp's Alien film is cancelled indefinitely. They've just mothballed it. And Sigourney Weaver, even up till recently, has said, yes, we're hoping that this film still goes ahead, but we just want to get Ridley Scott's film out of the way first, so that then Neil Blomkamp can do his thing with the franchise. Now that's very outdated information, I think, that Sigourney Weaver's going off there, because to make this even more confusing, Ridley Scott's next film, Alien Covenant, is the first in a trilogy of Ridley Scott Alien films, the third of which is going to lead up to Alien, the beginning of Alien, that 1979 film, which is very similar to what George Lucas did with Star Wars prequels. Hopefully these will actually be good though, where he did 1, 2 and 3 leading up to Star Wars. This Alien Covenant is the first in a new trilogy leading up to the Alien film. There's 2 more films after Alien Covenant to come out of the way. Now I know what you're thinking, this is a trilogy? Well, Prometheus would technically be the first film in that, so it would be a quadrilogy. Very confusing. The way Ridley Scott's saying it, Alien Covenant is the first in a trilogy. So I guess that would kind of make Prometheus the prologue. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry that this is just confusing as hell. But the point is, anyway, I'm not just mentioning this to confuse you. The problem with this is what Sigourney Weaver was saying, oh, we're just waiting for Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant to come out before we can do this. Well, I'm sorry, but there's 2. If this film is successful, I'm assuming, because if this film's not, I doubt they'll do those 2 sequels to this in this trilogy. If it's successful, which it probably will be, I think it would have to take quite a dive. They're going to have a long wait. Neil Blomkamp's going to have a long wait because Ridley Scott's got all these films. And imagine, let's just say if these films are bare minimum 2 years apart. I very much doubt that. It'd probably be 3, maybe 4 years apart. But let's just say Ridley Scott's trilogy, each film comes out 2 years back to back. So Alien Covenant is 2017. The sequel to that will be 2019, and the third in that trilogy will be 2021, bare minimum. So they're not going to have the green light to go ahead with another Alien film until after 2021. That's 5 years away, and like I say, that's bare minimum. I mean, if these films are 3 years apart, it'd be 2023 by then. That's insanity. They would have to wait such a long time to do this, to make this film that has kind of taken a bit of a hit in the director's recognisability for making great films is not really what it once was. So there's a number of issues anyway. So like I say, when you ask him about how two films be made at one time, it doesn't seem like this Neil Blomkamp take on the Alien franchise is ever going to happen unless they wait a hell of a long time to do it. And you're probably thinking, well, maybe they could do like two franchises like ongoing, because Star Wars is doing that. You've got your episodic films like episodes 7, 8 and 9. But you also got your anthology films, your standalone films that kind of coming out between the episodes, so it's kind of like that. Problem with the difference with that is Star Wars films all kind of fit in a sort of flowing canon. These Alien films, you can't do Neil Blomkamp's franchise and Ridley Scott's because they are pulling in two very different directions storytelling wise. Unless they were done by like different studios or something that co-owned the rights, which is rare, but it happens. I mean, they did that with James Bond back in '83 with Never Say Never Again and Octopussy. There were two James Bond franchises ongoing at the same time, and it was, fans to this day still don't know what the hell that was about. They think Never Say Never Again was an actual part of the James Bond franchise. It wasn't. So you don't want to do that with Alien. You don't want to have Neil Blomkamp doing his like thing and Ridley Scott doing his, because story-wise that you could not fit those into the same universe. I don't think, anyway. I don't see how that would work. It'd be very confusing. And like I say, I've got doubts about Neil Blomkamp about the film being any good anyway, to be fair. But interesting, man. Like I say, it's been interesting that Sigourney Weaver's been talking about this in recent months as if it's going to happen, because I know she's kind of said it as in it'd be a shame if it doesn't happen. That's kind of the angle that she took on it. But I don't see how it could. So it seems like her talking about this, her information is a little bit outdated. So I hope I've not confused you. It's been a long video and I've ranted on. I did apologise at the beginning that this was going to be very confusing. So thanks for sticking with me through this. Now, if you've got any kind of anything to say on the end of that, or if you want me to elaborate a little bit more on any specific part of this, just let me know. Send something into the mailbag section. Just leave a comment on here, or go to brandxreviews.com. I'll go on the Facebook page. Just some information following this, how you can find us on social media and how you can send mailbag requests. But I'm going to leave it there because that is just insanity. This entire video has just been insanity, just trying to get it all out there. So for now, I'm going to leave there and say thank you very much for watching, and thanks Paul Cage for the submission. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just so you know, for more news, reviews and retrospectives, you can like our page on Facebook, simply called Brand X Reviews. But as well as that, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube via this video. You can also bookmark our website, which is brandxreviews.com, which is pretty much a central hub for everything that I've just mentioned. So check that out, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.